welcome to the Dialogue KE. Tonight on the show, we are going to discuss on the state of the nation. And to help us discuss on this, I'm joined by George Mugosimba, a governance expert. Karibu sana.
Thank you, sir.
And of course, Tony Towet, an advocate of the High Court.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure, gentlemen, you've heard of the remarks by Trade CS Moses Kuria about the issue on fuel, telling Kenyans that they need to drill their own oil wells. I mean, let me begin with you.
Yes.
Your remarks on that.
Yes. Now, maybe I just give a small twist to it, yeah?
Yeah.
And just a personal experience, yeah? Last year, I ran for MP, Kajiado North MP seat, but I didn't manage because of party politics and things like that.
Yeah.
But because I believe in God, and of course, I do my things based on scripture directed, right? Mm-hmm. So I was asking God, or rather, I asked God, what can we be able to do as a solution for this country to sort out, number one, the debt crisis and the economic crisis. Yeah. And what came to my heart was a dream, you know? I had a dream. And in the dream, I saw William. And William is the head of state. Mm-hmm. I saw him, he was in State House, and surrounding him were 12 men with white hair and 7 men with black hair, young men. Then he was lifted up and taken to the northwestern basin, or northwestern side of the country. And there was a very, very long river, and his heel touched the center of the river, and it turned black. That was the beginning of this year, around January, February. I actually documented it. I did a podcast on the same. Then he was lifted up and taken to the western basin. And there was this rugged house. This is in the dream. There was this rugged house. In the rugged house, there was, at the center, there was an apex which was yellow and brown in color. So I asked God, what does this mean? And then I was directed to the scripture in 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 1 to 7, where he talks about that woman who had debt, right? He had two sons, and then she had debt, right? So she went to the man of God, that's Elisha, and asked Elisha what a solution. And Elisha told her, what do you have? She said, I have a jar of oil, all right? So Elisha said, go and take that jar of oil, then go and collect empty jars, start filling, all right? Then when they are all full, sell the oil, use the money to pay the debt, and whatever remains, you can live on it. That was, and God was directing me, or rather reflecting that as the country represents that woman who has got, the husband had died. And if you look at our situation, look at the first president, gone. Second, gone. Third, gone. And we've been left in debt, a lot of debt. So what is the solution? Maybe Kuria has an idea. So I would probably not brush him off per se, but I would want to look at it with a baby kind of
thing. I think that Kenyans are really suffering right now. And the government came into power, you know, with the slogan hustler narrative,
yeah.
You know, bottom up.
Yeah.
And, you know, the government should give Kenyans hope.
Yeah.
But when the CS tells Kenyans to drill their own wells,
yeah.
I mean, what does that mean?
Personally, I think that was overboard. In as much as it would be realistic, especially, you know, the sentiments that were made by David Ndii and Moses Kuria. In as much as they were realistic, they were trying to amplify the current situation of the nation in terms of, you know, the oil prices and, you know, the ripple effect it has on the economy. But I do not think that it is the best way to address the issues, especially, you know, these people, as you know, the deputy president said that the people are the employers, or the employers of this government, let's say the leaders who are in office today. And it will be so wrong, you know, for someone to come out in such a manner in addressing a very volatile issue at the moment that is, you know, causing a lot of, let's say, causing a lot of havoc even in social media. You see that, you know, there were rebuttals between these government appointees and even the leaders with now the common mwananchi. Essentially, we should also be able to appreciate, you know, the legal factor behind the issue of petroleum prices and how we have been able to be here, and the far we have come, so that we can be able to appreciate that the leaders, of course, they are doing all the best to ensure that especially we are not producers of this oil. We had another one here in Turkana. They said that it will produce up to 1 billion barrels. Who knows what happened?
But actually,
maybe that's where that's where the jackpot is, probably. Maybe
but
Kuria was speaking from that perspective.
It has never been actioned. One thing about our laws, they have been skewed in a way that it's supposed to help the common man. And the Kenya said the hustlers who actually made this government a reality.
Yeah.
And I would believe in the goodness of time.
Yeah.
These laws, if they're applied in the way they were intended to be, then they could actually, help.
Yeah.
But essentially, the citizens should, or the population, or Kenyans should understand, the exigencies and the dynamics of petroleum products. And, the pricing. There are laws that have been written, coded laws that manage this scenario as a whole.
Yeah. Actually, what the CS said is that it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
He actually tweeted on X that the prices of fuel are going to increase by 10 shillings each and every month up to February.
Yeah.
I mean, where is the hope that Kenyans, the many hustlers...
From my perspective as a governance expert, I look at all this from a governance structure. Like, for example, I run an institution, okay? And that's a form of let me say, state of some sort, for lack of a better word, all right? And we have structures. We have put structures. We have management structures. It's an institution. It's a school institution. We have teachers. We have parents. We have pupils. We have suppliers. We have subordinate staff. And we have management. How everything runs smoothly is dependent on how the structures are, how the policies have been put, and how they're being implemented. So take that and then post it now into government. How is the government being run? How is it? What are the structures? Are the structures working? You see, for example, and I know we'll probably talk about it. Right now, there is a bipartisan talks. They just resumed today, correct? But then, was it August 23rd? The DP comes and says, brushes it off.
Yeah.
All right? So you ask yourself, where is the mismatch? Then you realize that the problem is actually, it's not even the issue of the economy per se, it's the governance structure. The governance structure. Badilisha. We change that, we fix things up.
It was actually the opposition gave the Ruto's administration a D-. The 1 year they've been in government. They've said it's an year of disaster.
Yes.
All the D that you can mention about.
Yes.
And you're talking about the structure.
Yes.
So does it mean that there's a failure of the government so far?
Let me say it. Let me say this. Yeah, I have a master's in mass communication from Daystar University. And I did, when I was doing my thesis, one of the things that I looked at was how we can be able to improve the governance, all right, or rather the governing structures in our country. And God put an idea in my heart whereby we would, you see right now we have, and maybe Wakili can correct me if I'm wrong, we have democracy, all right, majority rule, and we have theocracy. Okay, because I studied all of them, monarchy, dynasty, etc. All right. So I came to a conclusion that what if we take democracy and we take theocracy? Because look at all our public functions. They have to start with a religious leader. All right.
Before we go on,
okay,
I would like to depart from your argument.
Okay.
That democracy as is has been a working progress.
Yes.
Theocracy, we have experienced theocracy in the early days. And in as much as, our country is religious.
Yes.
But it is, of course, in the constitution, it is a secular state.
Yes.
So
let me finish my point. All right. So we take democracy, we take theocracy and fuse them together. I happen to have, sorry, I have many things. I'm an engineer by profession. I mean, I went to Moi University and I studied electrical engineering. And one of the things that you're told is, we learned is, come up with solutions. See a problem, fix it. You know, this is a pen, it's not writing. How do we fix the problem? All right? Whatever the issues on the table, how do you fix it? So I thought, take that democracy, take the theocracy, put them together, and I came up with a new word called Trinitocracy. At the beginning of this year, remember this guy, my very good professor, David Ndii, he came up with, he told us this word called kleptocracy, where we have government leaders who they are not, and then you saw what the president did the other day in State House. He said, oh, why I shouldn't be able to, I shouldn't be knowing much more than what you're doing in your ministry, right? And it actually solidifies what David Ndii was saying, kleptocracy. So I decided, okay, why don't we come up with another, because I'm a student, by a virtual student, why don't we come up with a new terminology, Trinitocracy, where God comes into the system and we have God-led leaders.
Yeah.
How
You were
about
saying
that?
something.
Sorry.
Okay. You know, there have been pitfalls, large pitfalls
Yeah.
in theocracy. Theocracy, you know, the rule of men needs where there is checks and balances.
Yes.
In theocracy, there is no checks and balances because, you know, you cannot check God.
Not really.
You cannot balance God.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yes.
That is very,
So it means
yeah.
if we are going to go back,
But let me ask you a question.
let me just finish.
Okay.
If you're going to go back to, you know, where the Roman Empire was,
Yeah.
where, you know, the most
Yeah.
of the you know, theocracy was the cradle of government,
Yes.
where this governance system started.
Yes.
You know, when you propose
Yes.
a U-turn
Yes.
from where we are,
That is extreme, Wakili.
no, I understand. That's why I'm trying to come to where you are,
Okay.
where you want us now to fuse
Yes.
the democracy with theocracy.
Can I give you a very good example? Bishop Oginde. He was a bishop here, right? But he's in government. How do you explain that?
All right. Okay, let's there's been a lot of blame games. The Kenya Kwanza government is blaming the quote-unquote handshake government
Yeah.
for the crisis that we are in right now.
Yeah.
You know, I remember they came saying that they met empty coffers.
Yeah.
But now they've been in office for 1 year. I mean, why are they still blaming the former government for the wars that we are experiencing as a nation instead of sorting the situation?
You're saying who is blaming who?
Kenya Kwanza is
Yeah.
blaming the handshake.
Is blaming the handshake.
former
I think that, from my perspective, doesn't have so much weight because if you look at history, Kenya Kwanza were part of Jubilee originally, and then they split.
Yeah.
So when they come later and say, oh, we are blaming this and that, or bipartisan this and that, and blah, 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 it doesn't have any weight per se, okay? The thing is, come up, sit down, get people who can think outside, in fact, get people who live outside the box, okay? And they sit down around a table and come up with solutions. That's what Kenyans want, solutions.
Solutions.
Not solutions.
Wakili, with the skyrocketing fuel prices, I mean, we've never seen fuel rise with that amount of money. You know, 30 shillings, 33. I mean, and we've seen the government also wanting to tax Kenyans even more. I mean, what is the solution?
You see, first of all, I'll cite the problem, and then I will attempt to give a solution.
Yeah.
You see the current petroleum products prices.
Yeah.
Are, you know, especially, you know, is guided by the world, you know, crude oil prices. In the month of June, the prices of crude oil was somewhat $70 per barrel. So when you come to this time, this minute that we are talking, we are buying, the crude oil is being sold in the world market at $91 with some cents. So if you try to see how we get to 211 in terms of the money that we spend per liter of petrol, for example. And especially we appreciate that Kenya, we import finished products, then, processed. It is first of all important for us to understand how we get to 211 before we try to blame any government agency, EPRA, the minister, or any other person for what we are going through today. First of all, there is something called landing cost. Because we do not produce oil, there is something that we call landing cost. Landing cost is if a person like Murban National Oil, which mostly are our source of oil. These are, international players that, they set the price margin. So that now we have people called the marketers. The marketers are, the common Kobil, Shell, these players. What happens is that there is a system called, it's called open OTS, open trading system, where these oil marketers, they bid to be, so that they can import. The person who wins to import this oil is now the one who is authorized to import at the lowest prices, and then they're going to sell it to, other oil marketers in the country. So what happens is we have a landing cost. When it comes from overseas to the ports, it is called a landing cost. And these, prices are, they are checked, or, they change every 15th of the month. The end is on 14th, and 15th April gives new prices. So essentially what I am trying to say is there is this something called, once it lands at the port, then there is something again that is called FOB. FOB is the free on board. Then this is loading port prices. So these are now the prices that, they are declared upon being when they get loaded to maybe tanks at the coast, so that they can move in now inside the country. So there is a distribution price, supply price. Then it comes to taxes. It comes to levies. All these, they have a ripple effect on the prices of these that we are paying.
But you see, Wakili,
Per
the thing
liter.
is,
Ken,
the normal
sorry.
Kenyan does not understand
Yes.
all this
And
jargon.
Ken, I have a
about-
better idea. I have a better idea. Here, and this is a gift for Wakili. This is just a summary of Trinitocracy. And let me just break it up a little bit, all right? We have basics, that's one of the things that I was looking at, yeah? Where we have basics in this country. We just have all goods and services, right? We all deal with goods and services.
Yeah.
So we categorize them into three. We have basics, we have comforts, and we have luxuries. Then let the government zero tax basics. And let the government put, right now it's 16%. The CS wanted to take it up to 18. I don't know if it's still there. So we scrap that, remove that. Put the comforts at 12%. And then the luxuries at 24%. I tested it. I did a simulation of that. So for example, look at even this housing levy. I saw the way the PS was sweating that day. Yet it was something very simple. I happened to have gone to Parliament that day. The CS was presenting the budget, all right? And I presented to him, I thought, if you have if you see a house, yeah, you see the way the house is built, we have different parts of the house. We have stones, we have windows, we have metal, we have cement, all right? Out of that, classify and say, okay, let this stone be a basic and the cement be a basic, but the tap be a comfort or a luxury. So tax the tap, but don't tax the stone. Control the price of the stone.
Because actually, what we are seeing with the government,
Yeah.
whatever problem they find,
Yeah.
the solution is to increase taxes.
And
Is
that's
it going
wrong.
to work?
No. It won't work. It won't work.
Wakili, do you think that is going to work?
I do not think that overtaxing will work. But I also feel that, the previous governments, they went all in to overborrowing. We, first of all, did not have commercial debt in Kenya when Moi left. Moi left, Kibaki came. then we were just dealing with these debts that sometimes would be given ownership, and such stuff. But now we are in a commercial debt. A commercial debt, that if you do not pay, it has dire consequences. Dire consequences, like, Sri Lanka now, they do not have control of their ports. Reason being, the Chinese government has taken it over so that it can be able to recuperate the monies they spent, the loan that they gave out to the country. The main reason why the country is now taxing people is to be able, to meet its recurrent expenditure, which is everyday ballooning, because we are, as Kenyans, we are overrepresented. We are overrepresented because the devolution came in was good.
It's a very good point. That's a very good
Actually,
point.
we saw the story of CSs.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the government
Yes.
that is employing all these people.
Yeah.
And it's the government that's going to pay them back.
Yes.
And you have seen the MPs suggesting that you need to create more counties.
Yes.
That is the problem.
So meaning you're going to be taxed even more.
What essentially should happen in this Kenyan system of governance is that we should, sit back and, strategize on governance system. How are we going to make, counties less? Like, we should have like 8 counties in Kenya. We should not have 47 counties. It's a lot.
It's covered there.
So these 8 counties, we should elevate, the previous provinces should come to be counties.
Yes.
So that the counties that we have should be constituencies.
Yes.
So that the constituencies we have become the wards.
Yes.
That is how we are going to
Beautiful point. Very
to
beautiful.
compress
Yeah.
the wage bill in a way that we get off so many people who are doing. There is something called duplicity of
Yep.
functions
Yep.
that is happening in the country.
Yep.
And in as much as we want jobs for people,
Yeah.
also the 2/3 gender rule, which is of course a very good thing, we need to, repress, like we need to press the wage bill by,
Yep.
getting out people who do not play an active role in governance.
Yep.
Yes. I
So
like
George,
that.
I mean, many Kenyans are really suffering. And considering that the fuel prices have gone up,
Yeah.
the bus fare is going to go up. I mean, food prices, everything. And this is the government that came with a lot of hope for the normal Kenyan, the Mama Mboga, the Boda guys. If you met the president right now,
Yeah.
I mean, what solution can you give him on the situation that we are in right now as a country?
Right now, Ken, and it's good you've mentioned that. You see what is happening at Bomas. That's where the solutions can come from. But
There's a
then,
lot of politics in
yes,
that.
Yeah.
but then we have to have a genuine political will, all right, to support that.
Yeah.
Because let me give you just a reflection. You see what is happening in Bomas, yeah? On February 28th, and actually did some research, on February 28th, 2008, just after the post-election violence, what happened? The president, the president then, Kibaki, and the prime minister, what did they do? They came up with the Kenya National Dialogue and Reconciliation Committee, right? And they came up with 6 points, all right? 15 years later, that's what they're doing at Bomas. So you see, it's a cyclic thing, But then now, what do we do? And these guys are the same old guard.
Yeah.
Look at us, new generation, except me who has got some white hair. But maybe you have died. Yeah? But we are new generation, all right? Which means if I look at it from scripture perspective, we have new wine. We have new ideas, fresh ideas, all right? Right now, there's a friend of mine, not a colleague, he's one of my employees, all right? He came the other day and showed me a video that he made on the streets, okay? The video was it's a clip he put on TikTok, 1 minute. And then it got 1.9 million views over a period of 2 weeks. He showed me the M-Pesa message. He was sent 54,000. New ideas, you get? And you find this old guard, unakuta mtu amekaa, they're just seated at home. They know the normal ways of, let's do this, let's do this, let's do that. And I'm not belittling what they're doing at Bomas. It's very good. But let's inject fresh blood. Fresh blood, fresh ideas.
The bipartisan talks.
In the bipartisan talk, we just use that. Yeah, because I don't understand why, and I'm not disrespecting, with all due respect, I'm not belittling what the government is doing and what William is doing, but I feel in my heart that the solutions are in this country. They're right here. We just need to open our eyes. We don't need to go to the West. We don't need to go to China. We don't need to go to Britain. It's right here.
Bipartisan.
Yes, right here.
Wakili, solution to all these problems we're experiencing in terms of the economy.
Yeah, first of all, I think Mr. Simba should start, referring to the president as His Excellency,
His
the President,
Excellency, sorry.
William Ruto,
all right.
so that, we can be on the same page.
Thank you.
And the next thing that, the main solution that we should, first of all, employ, the president should do, is he should get rid of some characters who I think governance and leadership is not really ingrained in them.
D minus.
No, I cannot drop names, but if, everyone can see that in as much as we would want, from where I come from, when you want to draw blood from an animal, you do not go to the eyes and you draw it. There's something that you cover it first, and then you draw the blood.
Yes.
So that's as an analogy to mean that, in as much as you would want to be very truthful to the people, you are not supposed to step on them. You are supposed to, explain this in a way or do things in a way that especially would, boost their morale in continuing to contribute to the national good in a way that is going to encourage them to also come out and be able to get involved in these ways of solving the current miasma of confusion. But most especially, the way we are going to wade out of this problem is only one. There is an idea in Kenya where people oppose anything that comes, they
criticize and
oppose. In as much as, people are trying. David D is a good person who has, tried to make sense out of the political quagmire that we are in. Aside from everything that, is making the headlines today, I believe is a great mind. Even Moses Kuria believes a great mind. But we need to tone down a bit and be able to be realistic on the ways that we are going to solve this problem.
So what is that one thing?
There is that one thing only that the president has done. Let us go back to our means of production. Let us go back to produce more. Let us go back, to let us embrace ingenuity. Let us, create production factors, like let us go into manufacturing. Let us go into, let us not be consumers of what the world has. We are the ones who are importing, running up and down. We import coffee just for it to be sold back to us at a very exorbitant prices. We export tea just for it to be sold back to us at exorbitant prices. Raw materials, there is something that, the president was trying to say, that we produce mineral ores in the country and in Africa. Why do we need to export this mineral ore? Why do we need to export this petroleum or the crude oil so that we can be sold, products that we can be able to produce as ourselves and sell it ourselves at prices that, are being sold in Saudi Arabia? People there, they buy oil very cheap. Even owning a car there.
Do you think going electric is the other solution to our problems?
Yeah, going green is a good thing.
Well, Wakili, can I challenge your point, yeah? With all due respect, I like that point, very good. We go back to manufacturing. However, look at Sudan. Sudan, they have gold, they have oil, but they're fighting. What's the problem? Is it what they're producing, or is it the people themselves?
I think the problem with us, people of our descent, we're very greedy. Very greedy, because if today, Ken, you have 2 vehicles,
yes,
or maybe for you and your wife, And then now you get this opportunity and you want to have 6 cars, you have 6 cars,
Yes.
you want now to give, your small kid, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah, these are athletes. No one said that we should not achieve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I believe that once we get an opportunity, we squander it a lot.
Yes.
And we
So greed
greed is
is
killing
the
us.
effect.
And
Okay, as-
and that is solved by God-led leaders,
All
right?
right. As we conclude about the bipartisan talks, I just
Yes.
want to get your views on this. Azimio leader Raila Odinga has said that Kenya Kwanza is really frustrating the negotiations, and he's actually meant to make an announcement in the coming days. I mean, what is your take on that as we conclude?
Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga gives hope to the people. He's a respectable man, yeah? I was in Azimio and I was protecting his votes in Kajiado North. So he's a respectable man and he gives hope to the people. So I am not, and you see the fact that he's, let me say, a first generation veteran or a first generation leader. So I wouldn't want to preempt what he's going to say or what the Azimio team is going to say. So I would want to just probably sit back and also wait and see.
What you will do.
Yes.
All right. As we conclude, your remarks on Raila's remarks on saying that he's going to make a major announcement.
I think I want to concur with some of my seniors that the embodiment of opposition in Kenya should be shifted away from Raila Odinga.
Mhm.
It is a major factor that is, he is a major factor that, some of my seniors have said that everyone else is afraid of checking the government. But once Raila talks,
Yeah.
everyone comes in rushing now, wanting to join the bandwagon. But I believe,
Yeah.
as my seniors have, said before,
Mhm.
that we should take this thing away from, personification of opposition, personification of checking of government.
Yeah.
Say that if, God forbid, anything happens, we will never have anybody with the aura
To check the
to
government.
check the government. We need to groom people
Yeah. Fresh
like
blood.
my friend Simba here. You see,
Actually, Simba means simama imara madam bro amka.
that is very encouraging.
Yeah, and it's a very good point to end our discussion tonight. Gentlemen, I really appreciate the value of your time.
All right.
Asanteni sana.
We should have
Yeah,
this
I know we
again.
were supposed to have this show last Monday.
2
We
hours.
were supposed to discuss on
Make it 2 hours next time.
my director is watching. I know he's going to consider that.
All right.
So thank you so much for coming. I really
Okay.
do appreciate it. And to our viewers back at home, thank you so much for watching the Dialogue KE. I've been your host, Kennedy Kimani, and my co-presenter on the sign language interpretation has been Boniface Murithi. Enjoy the rest of our programming.